Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your friendly neighborhood PM, Clayton Allison, back again with our CIO, Will McGuff. We're talking geopolitics again. This time it's not Venezuela, but we're talking Greenland, and that's probably been dominating everybody's headlines. So let's just get right to the chase. Will, why is this administration so obsessed with taking control of Greenland right now? It's just some island up in the Arctic Ocean.
Yeah, thanks, Clayton, and thanks everybody for joining in. We're missing our lovely Tara McBride as host. And we're actually filming this in the afternoon instead of morning, which is our usual time, which coincidentally worked out well because the administration just announced a framework for some type of deal with Greenland and NATO. So it's maybe a framework of a framework. So we don't know the details yet of what's going to take place. But that said, it's been dominating the news. For your actual portfolio, if with like line items in it, probably nothing, because there's no probably investments that we would have in Greenland specifically, but it's also going to affect systematic risk, and that's how the market ultimately moves in unison. And when people are fearing geopolitical conflict, Europe was, militarying up all of their equipment in the Atlantic Ocean. Are we going to go to war over Greenland with Europe? Probably not, especially not now. So that type of geopolitical conflict does cause assets to be risk off, which means they go down. So we saw markets pull back a little bit off their all-time highs. But that's from a top-down standpoint. Clayton, am I right on the bottom up? Is there any way we can invest in Greenland directly?
I mean, I'm sure that we could go perusing for individual companies based out of Greenland. I know there's some mineral rights companies out of there as well. And that might be part of the administration's whole play on this, where earth metals are found in Greenland. But is there anything in our portfolios currently that we're doing from an individual company standpoint? Absolutely not right now. They're not exactly a major market that we're perusing on a day-to-day basis. And like we always like to mention on here, we are long-term investors. We're trying to find attractive investment opportunities to hold over the long term. It's very hard when, like Will said, risk on, risk off happens in a 12-hour time span. So it's really permeating from the top down, bottom up, so to speak. Now, with that said, Will, do you think that this is more just kind of geopolitical theater, maybe some brinksmanship on wanting NATO and Europe to continue to kind of bolster that defense spending while kind of threatening to take Greenland in some aspects?
Yeah, so you got to think about how the administration approaches these type of things. It's called the art of a deal. So I think you see the administration cause a lot of noise and really consternation amongst a lot of people to get everybody in a frenzy, and then they back off from things so they can ultimately get whatever they're wanting to get with regards to a deal. What's interesting to me is this happened in Q1 last year, and it's happening right now in Q1 this year. So it makes me lead to believe that maybe they're thinking about things in calendar years too. Let's cause a whole bunch of trouble in Q1 so that you have 3 quarters left to ultimately get a good year. We know we've got a midterm election, new Fed governor, so a lot of positive catalysts. Earnings growth is pretty solid underneath the hood too. So I think it's kind of a ripe opportunity within the calendar and everything going on to cause a little bit of trouble to ultimately try to help get a better deal for America. But curious if you agree or not.
Yeah, I would say I agree with the large span of things, but obviously, if you continue to kind of, blow a lot of hot air, so to speak, or threaten your friends and allies. I know I wouldn't have a whole lot of friends outside of the workspace that would want to spend time with me if I'm constantly threatening them to, maybe take their, prized car or anything away from them if they don't give me what I want. So, I mean, there probably is going to be some ramping of tensions between our NATO allies and the U.S. at this current moment. And I think they kind of had a term for that last year when this type of art of the deal, so to speak, was going on. And I think he got the acronym TACO, so to speak, which was, for all of you that do not know, it stands for Trump always chickens out. So, you can only play Big Bad Wolf so many times until the market pretty much chooses to ignore those things. That may be to the market's detriment, obviously, but only time will tell until it goes the other way, right? So, at the large span of things, I do agree, but, you're starting to fray some relationships there at the edges is kind of my inclination as to what's going on. Now, that pretty much kind of does it for the primary information that we've got on Greenland right now. Obviously, it's a very fluid situation. Like Will mentioned, we have a framework of a framework, so anytime we get more details on this, we're going to post it on here, let everybody know what those are, and keep everybody informed. But as always, like we like to say, make sure that you are following with your financial advisor. If you do have additional questions, they'll help sort everything out for you. And just make sure you're invested for the long term and following your financial plan. But as Tara always likes to say, stay informed and stay invested. We will see you next time. Thanks again.